What's up, everybody? I'm Lockouts, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing Blood DK and World of Warcraft patch 8.3 in BFA. We're going to go over the best talents, AZ traits, what's good, what's bad, what's kind of good, what's not that good for Mythic Plus rating. And if you want to run this in PvP, we'll talk about that too. Check this out, baby. All right, everybody, so jumping right into it. For your level 56 talent, what you're going to be running is Blood Drinker. It drains 30,000 health from your target over 2.5 seconds. You can move, parry, dodge. You can use your defensive abilities while you're channeling this ability. It has a 30-yard range, so you could be forever away from your target while you're channeling this, and it's on a 30-second cooldown, so you can use it very often. Compared to Rune Strike, it's on a 1-minute CD. It's pretty crap. It takes it's got 2 charges. It generates 1 rune. You strike the target for 10 grand. And it reduces cooldown 1 second for every, rune that you spend. It's pretty shit compared to Blood Drinker. Blood Drinker does a lot of damage, especially when you have it procs and crits and does other things like that. And just run Blood Drinker anyways. Heartbreaker, it's crap. We don't even need to talk about it. For your level 57 talent, Hematosis. This is going to be your go-to. Each enemy that you hit by your Blood Boil, up to 5 of them, it will increase the damage or the healing done by your next Death Strike by 8%, stacking up to 5 times. And if you have a bunch of enemies that are around you, and every time you Blood Boil, up to 5 stacks, okay, and 8% for 5 stacks, so 40% per time that you Blood Boil, and it'll stack up to 5 times. And every time that you Death Strike, it'll make your Death Strike heal you for 40% more. So you're gonna Blood Boil, Death Strike, Blood Boil, Death Strike. If there's a bunch of adds, that's what you do. Okay. For your level 58 Ossuary, I think that's how you say that. While you have at least 5 bone shield charges, the cost of your next Death Strike is reduced by 5 runic power. Additionally, your maximum runic power is increased by 10. Okay. What that means is every time that you use Marrow Rend, you get 3 charges of Bone Shield. It surrounds you with a barrier of whirling bones. It increases your armor by 3,200 and your haste by 10%. Every melee attack that's against you consumes a charge by 30 seconds or until all charges are consumed, okay? And Ossuary will, every time that you Marrow Rend, you're gonna generate Bone Shield charges, okay? Ossuary you're gonna have at least 5 Bone Shield charges on you all the time. When you have at least 5 of them on you, it's gonna reduce the cost of your next Death Strike. If you can Death Strike more often for cheaper, you're going to heal for more. The next one that you could run for your level 60 talent is gonna be Will of the Necropolis. This one here can be something that's changed out for Anti-Magic Barrier. Will of the Necropolis, when you're below 30% health, damage that you take reduced by 30%. It's pretty much a go-to. Your rune tap, it's not worth it. I'd rather spend everything that my runes and stuff like that on Death Strike, because everything else that we do revolves around Death Strike. Anti-Magic Barrier, it reduces the cooldown of Anti-Magic Shell by 15 seconds and increases the duration and the amount absorbed by 30%. So every time that you pop your AMS on yourself, your Anti-Magic Shield, you get a little buff that's increased. So if you're in a fight that's gonna be taking a lot of magic damage, this can help you, okay? The next one, 75, this is gonna be something that's gonna be preference up to you. I prefer using Wraith Walk. You get a movement speed bonus to get through the raid or the dungeons, faster. Or PvP, if you're running a flag or doing whatever it is that you're doing. Wraith Walk is pretty cool. Tightening Grasp, this reduces the cooldown of your Gorfine's Grasp. Gorfine's Grasp is your mass grip ability. Level 75, if you're running the first one, is Grip of the Damned. Death and Decay reduces the movement speed of all your enemies that are in it by 90%, decaying 10% every second. So it's kind of crap compared to the movement speed bonus because you are slow. The reason that you're going to run Wraith Walk is because there's going to be a lot of fights where AoE damage is happening, and being able to synergize your Death's Advance with your Wraith Walk will get you in and out of AoE cleave situations. So basically, let's say that our Death and Decay is something that's been dropped on the ground and we don't want to be in it, and we have a slow that's on us. We pop Death's Advance. Well, next time that it happens and we have a slow that's on us and our Death's Advance is on cooldown, we could Wraith Walk out of it. Okay? And by the time that our Death's Advance is on cooldown up again, we'll have our Wraith Walk back up, and trying to spread them out or the damage that is coming out from the ads or the boss, whatever it is, the AoE stuff that's on the ground. Don't stand in fire, it's bad for you, you see? For your level 90 talent, this is going to be preference. It's going to be up to you guys. I prefer Bloodworms. I think that it is dominant over Voracious. It's going to be kind of up to you, though. Different DKs say different things, and I guess it's all because it's preference, you know. Bloodworms, your auto attacks have a chance to summon a Bloodworm. Bloodworms deal minor damage to your target for 15 seconds, and then they burst. They heal you for 15% of your missing health. Now, additionally, if you drop below 50% of your health, the Bloodworms are going to immediately burst, and then they're going to heal you. So if you're fighting and you're fighting and you're fighting and your healer's locked out or stunned or something's happened to him and he's off, you know, eating a full of fear in a corner somewhere, and you drop to 49%, your Bloodworms will pop and they'll instantly heal you, okay? Voracious, this your Death Strike grants you 15% leech for 6 seconds. So if you have a bunch of ads basically that is around you, you can Death Strike, Blood Boil into them, get all your Blood Plague ticking and cleaving damage from your Blood Boil, and for 6 seconds, 15% of all the damage you do is converted into healing. That's where you're going to get the leech benefit bonus from Death Strike. Mark of the Blood, excuse me, it places a Mark of Blood on the enemy for 15 seconds. The enemy's damaging auto attacks will also heal your victim for 2% of the victim's maximum health. This is good for raiding, big bosses, stuff like that. You put a Mark of Blood on them. Every time that boss does a big old cleave damage to you, he's going to heal you, okay? I'm going to prefer Bloodworm still over top of that because I feel like its healing capabilities and the way that it synergizes with you, and when you need to be healed, Bloodworms seems to work the best for me and the way that I play. So try these three. I recommend Bloodworms. Secondary would be Voracious. For your level 100 talent, this is going to be situational. It depends on what's happening, what's going on with you, what's not going on with you. For your level 100 talent, you're going to be running Bone Storm. The reason that you're going to run Bone Storm is because when you're full of runic power, a whirl of bone and gore batters all nearby enemies. It's an AoE cleave. It deals 2,622 shadow damage every 1 second. It heals you for 3% of your maximum health every time it deals damage, up to 15%. It lasts 1 second per 10 runic power that is spent. So if you have, say, 100 runic power and you pop Bone Storm, it's going to last for 10 seconds. It's going to heal you for up to 15 seconds. It's on a 1-minute CD. It's a huge amount of damage, and it does a huge amount of healing that's on you. It's kind of your go-to, unless you're running with heals or in a raid or in Mythic Plus situations to where you feel like you might die, or, you know, you're taking huge damage and it's going to be fatal. Purgatory, this right here will help you. It can happen once every 4 minutes, so it's not a huge CD, and it'll prevent you from wiping or, you know, taking, you know, sustaining fatal damage. It'll make you go down. So this has helped me a lot in big cleaves or something where I'm getting ads are bolstered up real bad and they're hitting me real bad. Purgatory will help you. Moving into PvP talents. If you want to run this guy in PvP, he's super fun, man. I enjoy Blood DK in PvP because you heal for so much, you do so much cleave damage, and then people don't even really pay attention to you too much, and you're just this DK that's out there cleaving the hell out of everything and healing so much, and you're just slowing down and causing everything to be a nuisance. And before they realize that you've done so much damage or causing so much damage, you're spinning flags, dude. Like, it's a pain in the ass. Blood DK spinning flags running around in battlegrounds they're a pain in the ass. Your go-to is going to be Gladiator's Medallion. It removes all movement and pairing effects and all effects that cause loss of control of your character. You want to be able to use your trinket on your command. You know, there's times when you want to sit fears or stuns, and there's times when you might be able to get a kill, and if you auto trinket it and you end up in a blind or a sap or, you know, whatever reason, being able to use your trinket on your cooldown or on your command is going to help you be the best in PvP, no matter what character it is. Everybody runs Gladiators Madon. Next, this is something that you kind of switch out. They're all something that you can kind of switch out. Walking Dead, your death grip causes the target to be unable to move faster than normal movement speed for 8 seconds. So if a guy has a flag and he's running from you, or a healer is around and he's bouncing around and he's got a speed boost on him, you can grip him and he can't go faster than just regular speed for 8 seconds. So if he's got slows and all that stuff on him, this just helps slows down. Strangulate, this is just an extra kick for ranged. You got Last Dance, you've got Necrotic Aura, Dark Sim, you know, you can steal fears and mages and polys and different stuff that are on different characters. And Anti-Magic Zone, this is kind of something that if you're a Blood DK and you are playing PvP, this is something that you're going to want to have all the time. This is kind of a go-to, because the more that you're staying up and you're on flags and you drop AMZ down, you're able to, you know, mitigate damage for your party members and people that are on your team. Pets, everything included, that are in the zone. You know, it lasts 10 seconds and it reduces magical damage taken by 60%. So it helps your healers out, and it just helps you be, you know, a DK that's out there with a little bit of utility, helping out your teammates. If you're running Blood in PvP, that is. The next thing that we're going to talk about is Death Chain. I kind of like this. It's on a 30-second cooldown. It chains 3 enemies together. It deals 3,400 shadow damage to all of them. 20% of the damage taken is also received by the others in the chain, so it mitigates your damage. Basically, like when you're running a flag and you're at Blood DK and a bunch of guys come up to you, or anywhere that you are and there's multiple targets, you death chain them, and all the damage that you do, it gets linked to them all, and you're just spreading more damage in the targets and stuff. You know, you can, like, this is situational. It's kind of preference. Decomp, all enemies lose, you know, health as they're stacked up on you and trying to kill you. If you're running flags, whatnot, you're in PvP. Necrotic Aura, everybody that's around you takes 8% more magical damage, so your dot would tick a little bit harder. Your Blood DK, your kind of main strength is healing, and, you know, providing slows and a little bit of utility and offset as you're in PvP. Moving into your AZ talents, for your head, neck, and shoulder, Marrow Rend, your Death Strike heals for an additional 504 for each remaining charge of Bone Shield. So every time that you Marrow Rend, you get at least 3 charges of Bone Shield. You put a couple of cracks on your target with Marrow Rend, you get at least 6 charges out there. You can have about 10 or 11, 12, so many X amount of charges. If you have at least 5 of them, Death Strike will heal you for an additional 504 for each remaining charge of Bone Shield. Okay? So every time that you Death Strike, because you're Death Striking all the time, you end up getting an additional little bonus heal. Now, Bones of the Damned. Marrow Rend has a chance to grant an extra charge of Bone Shield. Bone Shield increases, additionally, Bone Shield increases your armor by 481. So every time that you Marrow Rend, not only do you generate a minimum of 3, you have a chance to generate an additional one with this. For the remaining rings, you want to use, I like a Blade of Shielding a lot. Falling below 40% health grants you further physical damage reduction, and it can only pop off every 30 seconds. So you'll get a little bubble that'll pop out around you, okay? And I prefer it over the other things that are like in this ring. Basically, you want to have as much utility or defensive ability for your last 2 inner rings. I like Cold Hearted. You could have you could use Resounding Protection too. Every 30 seconds you gain an Absorb Shield for 2,300, and it lasts for 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds you get a bubble that lasts for 30 seconds. Cold Hearted, this reduces the cooldown of your Icebound Fortitude, and it heals you for 7,000 every second that your Icebound is active. It also reduces the cooldown of your IBT by 15 seconds. Your Icebound Fortitude, when you use it, you have immunity to stun effects. and it reduces all damage that you take by 30% for 8 seconds. So you're able to mitigate damage with IBT, and you're immune to stuns from rogues and druids or other, pet stuns and stuff that can stun you. You're immune to it. Okay, so if you're running anything, anything, Icebound Fortitude, the ability to cool it down and heal when you pop your IBT is huge. It ends up being a big heal that at the end of fights, that when you go back and review your healing or damage reduction mitigation. Another one that I suggest is Crystalline Carapace for a inner ring, for your third inner ring. When dealt damage greater than 10% of your maximum health, you gain 197 armor. You cause melee attackers to suffer 228 physical damage. It lasts for 12 seconds, and it's just you're helping reduce damage and mitigate more damage from yourself. Now, kind of your go-to, I recommend having at least 1 or 2 of these, is Bloody Runeblade. Now, every time your Crimson Scourge activates, you gain 641 haste for 5 seconds and immediately gain 5 runic power. And this happens often. You will notice the haste benefit often. Blood DK benefits the most from haste and mass. Okay? If you're thinking of stat priority for Blood DK, it's going to be haste, mass, burst. That's going to be your stat priority. Haste and mass, haste, verse, mass, verse, haste, mass, verse. Just try to go haste, mass, verse. Think of it that way. All right. Your mastery on your character. Each time that you heal yourself with Death Strike, you gain 48.3% of the base amount as a physical damage absorption shield. Also increases your attack power by 24.1%. So every time that you have all these extra bonuses and benefits that we just talked about from your AZ traits and all these other talents and the reasons why you have them, not only that, but your mastery that is on your character. Every time you Death Strike, it will give you a little physical absorption bubble. So if you use 2 of these right back to back, well, you have 48.3% of the base amount healed on you from the Death Strike that you just did. So if you healed yourself for, let's say, 39,000, 48.3 of that base amount is put to you on a little bubble. Times 2 if you you Death Strike twice. You Death Strike 3 times, and it'll just keep getting you a little physical absorption shield. So that's why you want to spam, even if you are full on health, and even if you are finding yourself runic capped, and you're like, oh, I don't need to even really use any abilities, spend it on Death Strike, because you're going to give yourself that little bubble, and you're going to help mitigate more damage. It's going to reduce the effort that your healer has to put into you, and the amount of effort that you have to put into playing your character, because you're mitigating more damage with just a little simple bubble from using Death Strike more often. The next thing that we can get into is going to be essences. Anima of Life and Death, of course. It's going to be it's great. It's on a 2-minute CD. It is a little bit long, but it does a huge amount of damage, and it's a huge heal. All right. Crucible of Flame. It's another awesome one, especially in PvP. This gives you a ranged ability as a DK. Not only do you have a ranged grip, but you also have a ranged attack now with Crucible, and it will also heal you if you use it on yourself or another teammate that is around you. Say, they got your healer locked out and they're trying to kill him instead of you, and you guys have the flag. Well, you can just pop this on him a couple of times if you got 2 charges up, and maybe you'll help your healer out. Maybe you won't, maybe you will. Who knows? Give it a try. Conflict and Strife. This is something that's overlooked a lot. This is great. Even if you're not in PvP situations, it gives you versatility. Every time that you are slowed or you become a victim of a loss of control effect, it gives you a stack of Strife. Okay, your verse reduces your damage and your healing done by 2.7%. It also decreases the damage that you take by 1.39%. Okay. So having more verse is awesome. Another good talent is Touch of the Everlasting. Now, these are still talents that need to be ranked up for me. I don't play this DK too often enough to be able to have everything unlocked, but as time goes on and we progress through World of Warcraft together, my guys will just get better and better because I'll have more time invested on them. Anyways, moving right along. Touch of the Everlasting, it's great when you fall below 35% health. You gain 287 avoidance for 15 seconds, and your death strike will deal 30% additional damage and healing. This can only occur once every minute and a half, and corruption resistance is increased by 10. So you get a little base corruption resistance from this talent also. And as you rank it up, it's just going to progress and get better and better and better. Moving right along, Aegis of the Deep. I haven't taken the time to go and get this one yet or unlock this one yet, but this one seems to be a really strong talent also from everything that I've looked at and research and review that I've done. The elements protect you, reduces the damage that you take by each attack by 6,000 for 15 seconds. It's on a minute and a half CD. Furthermore, the minor that's on this is you gain 700 verse for every enemy that's within 10 yards, up to 700 versatility. Remember, we were just going over versatility. Versatility increases the damage and the healing that you do, and decreases the damage that you take. So having more verse, good thing. The next thing that we could talk about for these is, you can see, like, I didn't even really bother getting any of the rest of these. It's kind of, you got to level up everything. It just takes time to get everything unlocked. But if you're watching this, these are the reasons why you should be running these talents and traits together and linking them together. I do not have a huge item level on this guy, but, he heals for an enormous amount. Blood DK is very, very strong. They will out-heal any healer just about that is around them or with them, or ×2 healers. Like, Blood DK is super strong. You could run big boy keys, man, and live through an enormous amount of stuff. Everybody will be dead around you, and you're just still up and full of health and doing your little thing as a Blood DK. You guys want to get into rotation. What I like to do is have my Death and Decay out, of course, and then have a couple of charges of my Marrow Rend out. And if you have ads that are out right there immediately, one thing that you can do to instantly generate that threat is to run up to them and just blood boil them, and then Marrow Rend. Either way it goes, you want to be able to blood boil instantly on your target so that you can generate threat, and you want to put that dot on them. You want to put your plague on there. You can see right there we have the plague, and that happens from blood boil. Now if you want to pull only one ad like this guy over here, you could just use your Death's Caress, and you could reach out up to 30 yards and just pop the blood plague on him, and then you'll grab that aggro from that target. And when he gets away from his ads and he comes running over there a little bit, you could just grip him, and you'll grip that little target over there to you. Another thing that you could have, that you want to have, is your Taunt, your Dark Command ability. You want to have that one bound to a key that you have readily accessible, because sometimes you're running with people who accidentally pull aggro or are doing insane amounts of damage, and your aggro pool is low, depending on keys and affixes that are on keys and stuff like that. So having the ability to taunt on all the time, or grabbing offset ads that are running around that you didn't have enough threat on, and that ad's running around chasing a caster that you have or a healer around, you could taunt that guy or grip him instantly. Like, you can reach over and grip him, or just taunt him instantly. Those are two massive abilities that you definitely want to have use of, and get to knowing where you have them bound on your keys. Major cooldowns is Dancing Rune Weapon. This is on a 2-minute CD. This summons a rune weapon. It mimics, what it does is you gain parry every time you pop this, okay? And it mimics your melee attacks. It bolsters your defenses up. So if you got a bunch of enemies that are around you and you're starting to take a bunch of damage, man, pop Dancing Rune Weapon. Your parry will be increased, and you'll dodge and parry more. Let's see here. Moving into Vampiric Blood. Embrace your Undeath, increasing your maximum health by 30%, increasing all healing and absorbs received by 30% for 10 seconds. So when you pop Vampiric Blood, you get a massive buff in your HP, and your Death Strike also reacts to the massive buff that you just got in your HP, because you get healed for a base amount of your health. The next thing that we could talk about is your, or the final thing that I guess that we're going to talk about is going to be using your anema and using it properly. Basically, tanking when you're tanking is blood. Having common knowledge or having a future sense of what you're going to do in the dungeon, how you're going to pull the ads, where you're going to pull them to, will let you know when you should be getting ready to, or knowing when you should be using your anema. Now, there are times when you can just use your anema for just burst overall to burst down ads and generate DPS. And there are going to be times when you're going to need it as, holy shit, I need a really big heal. And that's going to be when you're going to pop your anema and it's going to heal you for a ton. So, you know, having general common knowledge or foresense, basically, of what all the dungeons that you're going to be tanking, the mechanics that are involved in the dungeons, and the raids that you're going to be tanking, the mechanics that are involved in the raids. Knowing when you're going to be able to need all these abilities is going to be the biggest thing. So I definitely also recommend, you know, watching YouTube videos before you guys start just spamming in the dungeons or high keys and stuff like that. Like, all right, I'm a Blood DK now. Go and get a little bit of general knowledge about each dungeon or each raid and each boss and what you should do. Taking a couple hours out of your life and actually doing a little bit of research before you go in there and you wipe up groups for 2 and 3 hours and get a bunch of people hating on you because you're the boss, man. You're the guy that everybody's following. They're waiting for you to go and pull that pack, and wherever you pull them to they're going to listen to you. You're the guy that's in charge. You're the tank. You know, they're going to react to what you do and how you're pulling. So if you're speed pulling, they're going to be running right behind you and waiting for you to gather up ads. If you're new to it, they're going to be kind of, you know, pushing you along, nudging you and trying to jump in front of you because you're trying to figure out what you're doing. The best thing to do, though, is if you're new and you're trying to figure out what to do, is just tell them, hey, I'm new, I'm figuring this out, you know, be patient with me. And the World of Warcraft community, for the most part, will have patience, and they'll say, no worries, man, we'll help you out, we'll point you in the right direction. They'll pat you on the ass and hold your hand and go this way, little critter, and go that way, and, you know, they'll tell you what to pull, and they'll help you out. And if you have any questions about bosses, well, you've already watched the videos on YouTube. There's lots of guys that do, you know, the guides and updates and stuff like that. Find you another awesome YouTuber, because I'm the #1 guy that you guys really like, right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Like, follow, subscribe, do all the stuff that you got to do. Perfect. Anyways, having common sense and knowledge, general knowledge of what it is that you're going to be tanking is going to help you be a better tank overall. Talking about add-ons that I use Bartender to get my bars like this. I use Details to get my damage meter over here, and then I open up a secondary window and move it over here for healing, so I can monitor the healing that I'm doing and the healing that my teammates are doing, and my healer, the most important person that's on my team besides me, and the DPS, of course, you know. As long as they're awesome DPS, you can do 5 million DPS all the time. They have to have RGB lights on their weapons to be, you know, doing higher DPS. In the middle right here, what I have is weak auras. There's lots of stuff that you could find for weak auras. Just go to Google and type in weak auras and look for, you know, Blood DK. I recommend Luxos. He's a Luxtios, or however you spell it. I'll put a link down below to my weak aura stuff that I have on this, so that you guys are able to get that too. I'll also put a list of my add-ons that I have. Another big add-on that you guys want to have is going to be DBM. You want to have Deadly Boss Mods. Deadly Boss Mods is going to help you for cooldowns, when bosses do different things, when different stuff is about to happen, event timers, and it'll just help you be a better participant of a team or a tank in general. Everybody should have DBM, so go and get DBM. Another KUI nameplates is what I have to get my enemy's nameplates to pop up and look like this and have the little arrows on them, so that you have the blue arrows. You can customize KUI so that you have different color arrows or no arrows, or whatever it is that you want to do. Focus interrupt sounds. I recommend this. This is for PvP or for PvE ads that are casting and stuff. Sometimes you didn't catch the cast and the sound will just go off. You'll know, you'll have like that instant reaction to want to kick it. And this will let you know, sometimes you don't want to kick that cast, you'll wait for a bigger one, but this will let you know with an audio cue that whatever it is that you're targeting is casting. DG kill shot, this just lets me know that I have an enemy within execute range. Chatter, this makes my chat and all that stuff look like this over here. Bagnon, that makes my bags get all nice and clean into one big bag. Bag Brother, and all that stuff. That all comes in the Bagnon add-on. And advanced interface options. This is just something that puts in some more options for your UI and stuff like that that were removed in as World of Warcraft has progressed. Anyways, these are the add-ons that I run. This is the talents that I recommend. This is the general consensus of big boy tanks that are running raids and keys as of February 1st. It is now February 2nd at 4:30 in the morning, 2020. So this is what I've seen for all the big boy keys, for all the tanks that are running. This is their builds. This is what they're using. This is also what the Blood DKs that are on the top charts also that I've seen or on rating. If you want to go and find those statistics and those numbers, I'll also provide links to them, or you could just go to World of Warcraft and find them in there, because that's where the ladder bars are for PvP and PvE, 2s, 3s, you know, mythic leader keys and all that other stuff. If you guys learned anything from this, if I helped you out, please, you know, like, follow, subscribe, do all the stuff you got to do to help a fella out like me. I'm Lockhouse, baby. Peace.